Hello, everyone. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a very special person, a scientific researcher in the field of health who is currently leading various research projects in both human and animal health. Today, he is here to talk to us about Naomi, a company that is revolutionizing the world of cellular health with its exclusive nanonized glutathione technology. Fran, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much, Pilar. It's a pleasure. I always love sharing conversations about health and sharing what we're discovering on a scientific level with your entire audience.
Well, if you'd like, let's get started with the topic, which is very interesting, and that is glutathione and why it is so essential for the body for cellular health.
Of course. Look, we could say in a phrase, which might sound grandiose, but actually has a strong scientific basis, that glutathione is the molecule that sustains life. Why is glutathione the molecule that sustains life? Because many people who might be listening to us right now have probably never even heard of glutathione. They say a molecule can't be that important if I've never even heard of it, right? Well, we can say that glutathione is the molecule that sustains life because it plays an essential role in functions that are absolutely crucial for life. Now, let's break down some of them. But we could say that literally hundreds of functions in the body are based on the role of glutathione itself. So, for example, we can say that all living beings, all eukaryotic organisms, in other words, all living beings that have mitochondria, and we'll talk about what mitochondria are in a moment, we'll remember it because there are many words that will remind us of when we were in school, right? But yes, the mitochondria are fundamental for life. And all eukaryotic beings, including plants, animals, and humans, have, use, and need glutathione to live. So just think about how important this molecule we're talking about is. There is one function, there is one main function, which is respiration, right? If we don't breathe, Pilar, we die. Of course. Exactly. Well, the act of breathing, which we do countless times throughout the day, is based on mitochondrial function. Why? Because the mitochondria, when it receives oxygen, you know that all the cells in the body need oxygen. When the cell receives oxygen, the mitochondria is the one that uses that oxygen and turns it into energy. So now let's take a look, because I'm going to show a slide to make it much clearer and to remind us of what we learned in school. But to sum up, in this process of breathing, of cellular respiration, something very important happens, which is the exchange of oxygen for energy, for something called ATP, which is like the primary energy currency of the entire body. In this crucial mitochondrial respiration process, what actually happens is what are commonly called free radicals. Let's put it this way. I always try, when I'm speaking to a very general audience, to use the simplest language possible so it's easy to understand. But these are reactive oxygen species that, in the end, are free radicals that the cell has to compensate for in a very, very clear way, using that glutathione that each cell in the body produces. Just imagine every cell in your body produces glutathione. All cells need glutathione, okay? Some more than others. For example, hepatocytes, which are the liver cells, are the ones that need it the most. So just think about what we're saying. If every cell in your body uses glutathione, imagine how important it is. Why? We're going to see that now. Look, I'm going to share my screen with you just quickly. And let's take a look at what I'm explaining, because I really like to use images so it's much easier to understand. Look, here we have two of the most important functions of glutathione. There are a lot, you know. We could talk about numerous functions, but to keep things from getting too long, I'm going to show you two of the most important ones. We were talking here on the right, we were talking about cellular respiration, right? Yes. Well, look, here we see. Can you see my cursor?
Yes, we can see it. How does it move?
Look, this is the mitochondria, right? Maybe many of you will remember this from school. These are the mitochondria. Cells have these little engines, you could say, that convert food. Actually, it's glucose that they're going to use, which is the fuel, and oxygen, which would be the oxidizer. In other words, it's like an engine. Engines in vehicles also need oxygen and gasoline, right? Well, that would be the glucose. So, in the process of using this oxygen, these reactive oxygen species are produced, and here, this currency that is obtained, which is ATP, is the energy that all the cells in the body need to perform all their functions and to keep the whole organism running properly, right? So during this respiration, as we've said, those reactive oxygen species are produced. And in the cytosol, which is the inner part, let's say all of this is the cytosol, here the wonderful molecule glutathione is synthesized, which is a tripeptide. Now we're getting into those strange scientific terms, right? Yes, but it's
Important to know. Yes.
yes. Well, we can say that glutathione is the molecule that the mitochondria will later use during this respiration to always counteract those free radicals that are produced. And if there aren't good levels of glutathione in the cell, mitochondrial damage will occur and therefore cellular damage as well. This already creates a weakness, which opens the door to diseases. This is precisely how many of the various diseases we commonly encounter usually begin, whether they manifest in humans, plants, or animals. They often truly start with a fundamental cellular weakness. If the entire organism is genuinely healthy, maintaining its homeostasis, and remaining in perfect balance, then disease simply has no place to take hold or develop. So just consider how incredibly important this truly is. We're talking about cellular protection. In other words, to put it very simply and clearly in this specific regard, let's emphatically state that glutathione serves as the primary and most vital shield for all the precious cells throughout the entire human body. So this is one of its very important functions.
From what specific age does the essential antioxidant glutathione truly begin to significantly decrease in the human body?
Well, that's a very good question. Look, I'm going to show you a slide that explains this, but then we'll come back because I want to explain this one to you, okay? But since you're asking me, let's do it this way. Look, it's established approximately. This depends because general rules in science don't really work for me. Why is that? Because each person is truly unique. So all those general rules that say, no, at 20 years old is when you have the most, or at 60, we have such and such amount. No, every person is unique and it will depend both on your genetics and your epigenetics, which are the factors around us that directly affect our health as well as your behavior. Care, yes, and thought, of course, Pilar. Thought is fundamental. That's a wonderful topic we could really delve into because our psyche and our emotional world are crucial. So, once again, I'm not a big fan of general rules, but we could more or less create a general ratio for humanity. And it's generally established that the peak of glutathione production in human life is around the age of 20. Notice that's why when we're 18, 19, well, for all young women too, but in general, people at 20 years old always enjoy a state of health, a certain strength, right? They have the ability to recover from illnesses in a very resilient way, don't they? So from around the age of 20, this curve of endogenous production starts to decline, as you can see here. What is endogenous production? It's the internal production of each human being, which will start to produce less glutathione. That means our cells will become increasingly unprotected against all kinds of aggressions, right? So that will increase the curve of what is called oxidative stress. As we mentioned before, we've explained that cells need good levels of glutathione to compensate for reactive oxygen species, which are free radicals. Free radicals are what increase oxidative stress. That's why there are always homeostatic mechanisms in the body, which means balance among the different biosystems. In this case, the compensation for that oxidative stress is carried out through antioxidants from the group of antioxidants, among which the most well-known are vitamin C and vitamin E, But glutathione, which is called the master antioxidant, is the one that compensates very well. It even restores vitamin C, reactivates it, and does the same for vitamin E, returning it to its active form. So to put it very simply and straightforwardly, we can confidently say that it typically decreases by approximately 10% per decade, sometimes even significantly more, because nowadays, in the fast-paced life we currently lead, in the modern society we presently live in, we are completely and utterly surrounded by various toxins. This is a very, very crucial and profoundly important issue that demands our attention. Health has changed radically in recent times because of synbiotics, which are external agents that enter our bodies through different routes, through the skin, through breathing, and especially through the oral route from what we eat, what we ingest, from water, from food, right? There are many, many toxins that our body has to deal with.
So,
how does it manage them? And I'm going to explain this function to you, which is very important, and then you can ask your question. Sorry for this lengthy explanation, but I think it's really important.
yes.
Look, the main function of one of the most important organs in the body, okay? Of course, it has a direct relationship with the rest of the organs, but I'm talking about the liver. It's a vitally important master organ that manages an impressive amount of blood in liters. We could say approximately 1,500 liters or more, depending on your basal rate. For example, it's not the same when someone is playing sports or exercising a lot as it is for someone working at a desk in front of a computer. So it depends on your basal rate. Here, let's say that the liver manages approximately between 1,500 and even up to 3,000 liters in athletes. It is an absolute outrage. You're going to say to yourself,
But up to date?
This is the question, Pilar. But how can this be up to date? Yes, yes, yes. How is this possible? If we have 5 or 6 liters, that cannot be. Imagine how many hundreds of times your blood passes through your liver every day. It gives us absolute clarity on the critical importance of our entire body having our blood completely and thoroughly clean. This vital process is what diligently works every single day, and we absolutely have to actively participate in effectively helping and supporting our liver. So the crucial question arises, what exactly does the liver specifically utilize and employ to meticulously clean the blood every single day? Glutathione. Hepatocytes, which are the cells of the liver, they are the cells in the body that produce the greatest amount of glutathione. And how do they do it? Look, here in the graph, it is very clear. Yes, when harmful toxins enter the liver through the bloodstream, okay, the liver uses glutathione because the toxins, what does the body do? Look, the body has an emergency system. When toxins enter the body, for example, heavy metals or other types of xenobiotics, the body is going to sequester them. It sequesters them by surrounding them with lipid layers, trying to trap them so they don't circulate through the body and cause organ damage. Many of these fat-soluble toxins pass through the liver, and glutathione attaches to them. The glutathione molecules bind to these toxins, which are already fat-soluble because they've been captured, and then transforms them into water-soluble substances, okay? Water-soluble, sorry for these technical terms, and then the body can actually excrete them. It can eliminate them from the body, either through the gallbladder, which sends them to the intestine, or as you can see here, also through the kidneys and in the urine. So notice that for optimal health, it's essential, absolutely essential, to have optimal levels of glutathione. This is already known. In science, this is well established. There are hundreds of thousands of studies on glutathione. There are even more studies on glutathione than even on vitamin C, which is so well known because, especially in this recent period, this last decade or the past 20 years, there has been an incredible increase in studies. We're now close to 8,000 studies per year just on glutathione. It's incredible. So, well, this is kind of an extensive summary, sorry, but that's what I could explain about the importance of glutathione. Perfect, perfect.
Fran, it's truly necessary to understand how the body works and how important this molecule is. We know that there are indeed many different brands of glutathione currently available on the market today. And I'd like you to thoroughly explain to us what the fundamental and truly significant difference is between Numi's exceptional glutathione and all the other various glutathione products out there presently.
Look, in the world of glutathione over the years, many products related to glutathione have appeared. And that's normal because science already recognizes its importance. The big problem, not just with glutathione, but with all supplements, is bioavailability. What is bioavailability? Bioavailability is the ability of any substance to reach the cell. Because I can supplement the body with anything, Pilar, with anything at all, vitamins, anything from the entire world of supplements. But how much of what I take actually reaches the cell, which is the one that needs it, right? So throughout the history of the world of supplements, that almost all, in fact, nearly all supplements are taken orally. There's a significant gastrointestinal passage, which is quite an aggressive and challenging one. It passes through potent gastric juices with a very low, highly acidic pH, and it's absolutely crucial to have a good, sufficient amount of acid in the stomach for proper digestion. And then it undergoes a tremendous assault. Any supplement you take suffers a tremendous aggression. Afterwards, they pass through the intestine, where there's also an enzymatic digestion. And we can say that intestinal health is something that's very compromised in recent years, even more so. The overall health of the enterocytes, which are the specialized cells found lining the entire intestine. These tiny, delicate little hairs that possess the crucial ability to absorb vital nutrients and through very tight junctions, right? Which are extremely tight junctions that only allow essential and beneficial nutrients to precisely pass into the systemic circulation, into the bloodstream. The essential things, and what isn't? Well, it goes and is excreted, okay, through the intestine. Well, then everything that passes orally is managed by the enterocytes, and the health of the enterocytes is compromised because we're facing many attacks from toxins, okay? Many pesticides. Glyphosate is a very big aggressor of enterocytes, among many other things. Okay, so when supplements pass through the intestine, given this problem with enterocyte health, many of these nutrients aren't absorbed well, but not only from supplements, but also from the food itself. There are nutritional problems due to intestinal issues. So if we already say that with this aggressive passage that all supplements suffer just in the digestion phase, plus the problem the population has with intestinal health, well, we're going to see that it's very complicated how much will actually reach. The percentage that reaches the cell is very little, okay? So what happens? Well, the vast majority of supplements, not just glutathione, have low bioavailability, and this is known. In the world of vitamins, this is now a trending topic. It's already known that vitamins, the recommended daily amount of vitamins, is totally already outdated. You have to take more than double the recommended amount because otherwise it's useless. For example, with vitamin D, this is already known. The 4,000 daily units that are mentioned, that's already outdated. You have to take 8,000 or 10,000 for it to really reach, and you can compensate for the vitamin deficiency, right? Well, sorry, I went on too long. This problem when you have too much information, you have to be very...
But anyway, the nanometric size of, for example, this Numi technology, how it crosses cellular membranes and all that.
This is the big question. Throughout history, there have been many supplements based on glutathione. Glutathione monohydrate, for example, glutathione that has been made into capsules, right? Many people tell me, no, I take glutathione capsules. And I say, glutathione capsules. Look, forgive everyone in the industry, but it's already known that glutathione capsules, the vast majority of capsules, okay? There are many, there are different ones. You can't generalize, sorry, but I'm specifically referring to capsules that contain monohydrate. Monohydrate, that is the powder, constructed glutathione, this practically has a bioavailability of 1%. So stretching the money doesn't make much sense. Then acetylglutathione was invented, which is an acetyl group that protects glutathione from stomach aggression, but it still doesn't have much bioavailability. Then came the great world of precursors with NAC, which was the most famous. This is one of the most studied, excellent studies have been done with NAC alone. What is N-acetylcysteine? Cysteine is the main precursor of glutathione, okay? So then, what does the cell use to build glutathione? There are three peptides, one of which we can say is structurally the most important, is cysteine. So the acetyl group protects cysteine from stomach aggression so that it has some bioavailability. But more or less, NAC, which, mind you, has been studied with incredible effectiveness, has only achieved about 10% bioavailability. Imagine that. So then there have been many more supplements that are already known, also based on precursors, not with high bioavailability, but with good effectiveness. It must be recognized that products have come onto the market that are very good today, but they still have a bioavailability that is not very high. But incredibly, even with low bioavailability, they already have a lot of effectiveness. So imagine a product that has the capacity to have high bioavailability, for example, intravenous, which is what has been used. In hospitals, it's used for paracetamol poisoning because paracetamol, despite what people think, and people self-medicate so much with paracetamol, is a very important hepatotoxic. So intravenous has a lot of bioavailability. It has over 90%. But of course, how many injections do you have to give yourself per day to be at optimal levels? It can't be. And besides, the treatments with intravenous, it costs about 300, 400 euros, depending on where you do it. Imagine it's a lot of money that doesn't. Well, a truly groundbreaking technological disruption is now making its way into the market. And as a dedicated scientist who has observed many advancements, it genuinely surprises and fascinates me. While extensive and rigorous research is still absolutely essential to fully understand its implications and potential, a remarkable and innovative new form of nanonized glutathione has indeed arrived on the scene, promising significant developments. This means that the glutathione particles are nanosized, very, very small, and it's also sublingual. This is indeed the truly great technological disruption that we are witnessing. It is sublingual, it is nanonized, and now we have a completely non-liposomal encapsulation, something else entirely new that we haven't yet fully discussed. It is entirely fat-free, meticulously encapsulated in ultra-pure, pristine water within incredibly complex clathrate structures. Glutathione particles are introduced, making it bioavailable for the cell, along with L-cysteine, its main precursor. So, besides delivering glutathione to the cell, it prevents cellular laziness. And we have the cysteine helps create its own glutathione, stimulating cells to continue producing it. They've also added nanonized vitamin C, highly bioavailable and absolutely crucial for the essential glutathione synthesis process, plus the powerful and well-known curcumin, which is widely recognized for its truly spectacular and beneficial properties. These four beneficial substances are all found together in one of Numi's innovative products, which is known as NutriSwish. And with the use of this product, we are observing truly interesting results. Okay, Fran?
You simply take 10 milliliters of the substance, take it.
Swish it around thoroughly for about a full minute. They typically say 30 seconds is sufficient, but a full minute is generally much better, as the sublingual absorption system varies significantly per individual person. But yes, 1 minute I truly think is quite enough. You can certainly hold it for a longer period, but then you can safely swallow it, okay? Yes, this is indeed the effective system. So what exactly happens next? The detailed analytical results unequivocally confirm that the NutriSwish's glutathione and cysteine molecules pass through the sublingual system, reaching cells in bioavailable form in approximately 70 seconds. This is an absolute technological disruption, not just for glutathione, but for the entire world of supplementation. Until this very moment, there truly wasn't such a direct, efficient, and effective way to deliver any essential substance or vital compound to the entire biological system, specifically to the individual cells themselves, right? So really, perhaps the most important thing about this project is the technology. The technology, right, which is hydrostat technology, is precisely what we've explained. This system of encapsulating nanonized substances in complex structures of ultra-pure water.
Fran, there are literally thousands of people already actively using it, who are truly utilizing its full potential, who consistently notice significantly more energy, who sleep much better and more deeply, whose skin is noticeably more luminous and radiant. What exactly can you tell us in more detail about these particular individuals who are currently taking it? And what precisely do they consistently say about the product Neumi?
Well, look, to explain it very simply and clearly, if we're saying that glutathione performs hundreds of functions within the human body, then when you increase glutathione levels in your body, and if it's also the detoxifier our body uses to remove all toxins and substances, because as I've stated, we are completely surrounded by these toxins, which represents a serious health problem for our well-being and health. It's one of the components, the main health concerns that we face today, and one of the primary aggressors of our precious body, significant destabilizers of our essential homeostasis, our crucial balance. These are indeed xenobiotics, external toxins. So as soon as you start taking truly bioavailable glutathione, your body begins naturally, of course, to recover all its balance. All the imbalances it had gradually start to correct, depending on your individual situation, of course, because in science, generalizing is absurd. Each person is unique, but it's true that with a molecule of this potential, the body will manage all its functions much better. And this obviously means the person will start to feel better. We're already seeing analytics of how inflammatory profiles shift. There's a tremendous systemic population inflammation, intestinal dysbiosis. I don't want to say, and this is very important, this is a dietary supplement. We are not saying it cures diseases. No, okay? No. But as such a crucial and important supplement for the cell, it improves the functions of all cells. Therefore, it will improve the function of the entire organism. And even more so if it frees you from all the toxins we bioaccumulate. The bioaccumulation of toxins is a crucial factor. So yes, obviously people answering your question who start taking it, well, they start to feel, of course, that I feel much better. Now I sleep much better. This is a problem, right? As we get older, we sleep worse and worse. And there are people reporting, many people reporting that they sleep much better now because when your cells are functioning better, the entire sympathetic nervous system is significantly calmer. So everything within your body starts to function much more optimally and effectively. So that's precisely why so many individuals are consistently reporting this profound feeling of well-being and improved health.
Of course, we absolutely know that every individual body reacts quite differently, and some people may notice its effects almost immediately, while others truly need a bit more time, depending significantly on their current level of intoxication. It operates either more rapidly or more gradually, and it possesses the remarkable ability to be seamlessly combined with virtually everything. Isn't that right? It is, in essence, a comprehensive dietary supplement specifically designed to actively support the complete and overall well-being of the individual who consumes it.
Absolutely. Look, now that you've mentioned that, forgive me for interrupting. There's only one restriction. Well, there are some restrictions for now, even though there's no evidence of anything. As always, when there's no evidence of something, they say pregnant women shouldn't take it. But honestly, if you think about it, glutathione should be very good for a pregnant woman. But there's always one very important thing that I think we need to be rigorous about, which is caution, right? Caution regarding, well, for now, pregnant women aren't taking it. Some do because they say it feels great for me. But anyway, but this is not so much a restriction, it's a piece of advice, but there is a strict restriction for people who have recently had transplants and are taking immunosuppressants. This is a total restriction, a complete restriction. This is important because when people feel better, they say, oh, this is a miracle product. This is not a miracle product. Don't come looking for miracles. This is a scientific thing, but we have to be rigorous and share the important things. So the restriction is for people who have had transplants and are taking immunosuppressants. There are other people who take immunosuppressants who haven't had transplants. Well, if you're taking immunosuppressants, don't take glutathione because it's a complete antagonist. That is, what glutathione will do is awaken your immune system. It plays an essential role in, for example, T and B lymphocytes. So do not take glutathione if you are taking immunosuppressants because it will have the opposite effect. It will awaken your immune system significantly. So this is restricted. Okay, this would practically be the most important restriction.
Thank you very much, Fran, for your time, for your incredible conversation. Thank you for helping us understand how this molecule works, this tiny molecule that has such a profound impact on our balance, our energy. And to all of you listening, if you want more information about Numi and Numi's technology, please contact me, contact Fran. And we are truly impressed with this news, with this technology. And Fran, it's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you soon. And well, if you have anything to say, go ahead.
Well, Pilar, you can absolutely count on me for these important health conversations. We can certainly have many, many more of these discussions because I truly love spreading valuable health awareness and bringing accurate scientific information to everyone, to absolutely everyone, right? It often truly seems like science is completely separate and distinct from people, but in reality, it is absolutely not. So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity, Pilar, for graciously allowing me to share this fascinating and important science with you and with all of your esteemed audience today.
Thank you. See you soon.
A hug.